Yes, people, welcome back to the 1894 Boxing Day preview. Boxing Day is always a very exciting day of football in England. City take on Leicester. Let's get right into our thoughts. Okay, Luke, like I said, Boxing Day is a very exciting day of football, and at this time, we are top of the tree. We are top of the shop on Christmas this year, which is always a great thing. And a fun stat for you to know at home, the last two times City were top of the Premier League on Christmas Day, we went on to win the league, so all these little omens add up to give me a good bit of optimism. But we play Leicester this time round, and Leicester is a team that we have had our ups and downs with over the years. We've had some very great days and some very tough days. They beat us in the Community Shield there, just gone in August, so that'll give them a bit of confidence, but they are a team also very much hit by COVID-19. They have had a few cases, which has caused them to, I think, miss a couple of games. Their last game was against Newcastle, they won 4-0. Our last game was against Newcastle, we won 4-0. So you could almost say we're on a level playing field. Luke, how do you feel going into this one, mate?
Yeah, Newcastle, Leicester, one of those teams that I look at and think, we'll either go in there after we outclass them, or they'll go and counter-attack us and nick a win. Because I know Vardy's one of those players in the past that's always scored against us all the time, but he's one of those players that he's 33, 34. He's still one of the players that to be very careful of because it's just the pace and the counter-attack that worries me. And I know we're a lot better than we were this time last year. That's for sure. Last year we were mid-table still, trying to catch up towards Liverpool and that. So we're in a much better position than we were this time last year. Leicester, yeah, I feel a lot more calmer and confident than I was definitely last year, or definitely before. And I'm sure I think we'll win this game, but it's all down to obviously the team we play and also how we deal with the counter attack. Because Leicester are still one of those teams that can still counter us, like any team in the league. But yeah, Vardy, Maddison, Daka. Very dangerous team.
In terms of City going into this one, obviously, just a week ago I think we're still top of the league by a point or so, but we had a 10 goal difference less than Liverpool, and in a matter of 10 days or 10 days, we've fixed that. We scored 11 goals in 2 games, 7 against Leeds, 4 against Newcastle. So we've got a lot of people who are in good form. But there are also some issues within the squad. Obviously, Kyle Walker has his personal issues. Grealish and Foden have their personal issues. But the team are still doing quite well. How do you feel about City going into this one, Luke?
Yeah, I mean, I would be surprised if, not necessarily Foden doesn't start. I think he'll probably either get on off the bench or he'll start Leicester. But I think Grealish, especially, is probably the one player I think will probably not play again. I imagine he'll probably get more time to just adapt to Pep's obviously elite mentality. Because I think one thing I noticed with the whole situation with him and Foden, right? Grealish obviously was at Villa. He was the main man, and even though he did all these things, he still came back into the team and was the number one man. Coming into a team like City, he's obviously one that he's now obviously part of the team. He's not the main man anymore. He's the man fighting to get his place in the team. So this is where he needs to, I think, grow up. If he wants to get the big trophies and be part of this big team and be successful, he needs to start showing his balls and showing the fact that he is to play football, mate, not mess about. Same with Foden. I know Foden's obviously done a mistake with Greenwood last year now of him, so he's still got his issues that he's obviously like 21, so obviously he's still learning and maturing, but he still needs to learn as a certain level of maturity and responsibility of being a City player. So I imagine they'll probably get back in the team, either maybe not today or probably against Brentford maybe. But I wouldn't be surprised if they don't play maybe. But I think if anything, it's more of a learning curve for them than anything. But I think going into the actual game itself, I probably feel like it'd probably be a similar team to Newcastle. I think it'll probably keep De Bruyne in there because Leicester love to counter attack, and De Bruyne is very good at catching players out of that on the break and pinging the ball into Jesus or Mahrez and getting the goal. So, yeah, I'm confident that we can definitely counteract it, and I'm confident whoever we play, we're fine. Whoever we play, we're fine.
Yeah, on the Grealish and Foden thing is, I do have sympathy for them. Obviously, we don't know the full story. We probably never will, and that's probably for the best as well. But I do have sympathy for them. They're both young, good-looking men with quite a bit of money, and they just won a big game, 7-0. They both played great. They want to enjoy themselves. So on a human level, I can understand it. But unfortunately, Pep, being the ruthless man he is, he takes no prisoners in those situations. So he's probably got a bit of a headache there himself, Pep. I mean, he's not going to punish them for a long time because they're both key parts of the team, and I'm sure they'll both find themselves back in the team fairly soon. Definitely excited from to bring Foden back in because he's really crucial to this, a bit more so than Grealish at the moment. And then of course you want Grealish to keep going because he was getting into quite good form there when he was there recently. But in terms of the team collectively, it's just a matter of keeping the momentum going, keeping the goal difference improving, keeping the 3 points going, because that's how you win these tournaments or the Premier League every single season when you're fighting for it. You got to keep the momentum going. Can you do it over 30, 35, 36 games? It's not just a matter of doing it one week and failing the other. And it's these kind of games where you can't slip up. You're at home, you can't drop points the same way Chelsea have done with Wolves. That will probably affect them badly. And I think they lost Aston Villa or something like that as well. We can't afford to do that, and it's not. We should just keep building what we already have. So with that said, let's get over to our starting 11 and see who we did choose and put ourselves in the line. Let's go. Okay, Luke, so our starting 11 is up on screen right now. We spoke a little in the first segment what players Pep might choose and the headaches he may have. So we've put ourselves on the line here and we've given our prediction. In goal, as always, Mr. Reliable Ederson. I always say it, I believe he's the best in the business, both at shot stopping and with he's absolutely priceless and is crucial in absolutely everything this team does, and sometimes a bit underrated. On the right, we've gone with Cancelo this time. We think Walker, obviously he's had a tough week or a tough 10 days. He lost someone very close to him. I think he was slightly ill at one stage there. I could be wrong on that. And Cancelo is actually the best fullback in the world right now. I'm putting my City bias cap on here and off at the same time. If you don't agree with me, that's your problem. The guy is absolutely on smoke. And we're going to do a video about him, I think, as well, because he deserves it. He's been absolutely fantastic. The two centre-halves, Laporte and Diaz, reliable as always. The two of them doing quite well together at the moment. There's absolutely no point in changing that. Don't fix what's not broken, as we always say. And then on the left, we've gone for Zinchenko, who's also doing quite well at the minute. Ake, possibly slightly unfortunate to miss out because he has been quite good whenever called upon recently, if you ask me. Luke, that defence, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with it. The back four and the keeper against Newcastle were great. I mean, obviously that's do much. Newcastle didn't really throw as much as other teams would because they've been a really crap this season. But especially Ederson, that one save against I think it was Wilson. It was obviously winning that 3-0 at the time, but it was a great save. It kept that clean sheet. So it shows how the defence still values a clean sheet no matter what. It's like a goal for them, which is brilliant. It's how we should treat these kind of games. Like being clean sheet, that's like another goal to the tally. So I look at the positive. I mean, the back four's been brilliant. Obviously, I like to have Walker in there, but Zinchenko was really good against Newcastle. Especially that assist for Mahrez was a great cross. Yeah, I think the back four's perfect, mate.
The back four very regularly almost picks itself, bar kind of one or two changes week in, week out, not based on poor form, just on keeping refreshed and keeping the momentum going and keeping players fit and sharp. Because you have to be strategic about when you use certain players and pick them specifically for certain fixtures because they play better. In midfield, obviously it has to be Rodri. Rodri is an absolute staple of this team this year. He is in fine form, and I have full faith that he will do the exact same as he has done all season against Leicester. And then it's kind of where it's interesting, Luke, is the attack in front five. We have gone with Bernardo, obviously, similar to Rodri and Cancelo and Ederson. He just picks himself. You can't go into any game that you really need to win like you do with all Premier League games and not pick Bernardo at the minute. Similar to Cancelo, like I said, he's absolutely on smoke. Can't go without him. And now we've gone with De Bruyne instead of Gundogan or anyone else because we had a conversation about this before we hit record, didn't we? We think, or you think, that De Bruyne plays better against teams like Leicester who do like to push at us and do get up in our faces rather than just sit back. What do you think, mate? Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, sure. A game like Newcastle that I talked about beforehand, I said that that's more a game suited more like Gundogan and Bernardo because Gundogan's the kind of player that can find pockets of space. The Newcastle will leave, obviously trying to sort of park the bus and keep the defence. Whereas De Bruyne can't really do that. Yes, he can do it on occasion, but Gundogan is the expert at that kind of ability to sort of find the passes there, little pockets of space here and there, which is what Bernardo does as well. Whereas De Bruyne is one of those players that you want to be running at a defence that's already, or a team that's obviously trying to press us back. Because he can win the ball back against them and then find a pass quickly and then get us moving up the field again. So he's a kind of player that would thrive against a Leicester team that's trying to sort of get a win or trying to counter us. So I think the midfield, Rodri, Bernardo, and De Bruyne is perfect for Leicester because against them. But with Rodri obviously being how great he is at that stalwart in front of the defence, so doing so well, even going forward as well, he's been brilliant. Bernardo Silva, I mean, incredible. He's been our best player of the season. Absolutely magical player. And De Bruyne, as I said obviously before the recording as well, he's trying to find form. And I do think that if he doesn't find the form in the next couple of games, then I think probably Gundogan should have a longer stint in the team, because it's only fair. You can't just prioritise other players in there over others. But I do think that given time, he will find that form again. Maybe not straight away, but hopefully this is the kind of game where you can really get that first assist finally in the league, get that assist for a long time. So this is the time where you can get it.
Yeah, you have to bear in mind with De Bruyne, he has had a lot of adversity to overcome. You know what I mean? He had COVID there. I don't know if he had symptoms or how he felt that, but he did have COVID, positive for it. And then he's had a whole array of injuries over the last 2 years. You know, his ankles and his face and this and that. And the defenders are always looking to kick his legs off because of who he is and how good he is. But I do believe he is slowly finding his form again. And form isn't something you can just click back into. These are only human, these footballers. You need their confidence boosted up, and he scored a good goal the other week, and he might have scored another one if I'm not mistaken recently as well. I think he's starting to find it, and it's just a matter of being wise about when you use him and helping him find his form rather than trying to force him into form. But I do think you're right about certain types of games suit De Bruyne and certain types of games suit Gundogan. And when we do play Leicester, usually the way they do approach us, I think De Bruyne does suit that fixture. And if I'm right, Leicester are a little bit depleted at the moment because of COVID cases. I don't know what sort of a team that they will have available to them, but either way, I still trust De Bruyne to do a half-decent job and continue building on his good form. And then the front three is where, again, this is one of our strongest parts of the pitch, if not the strongest. So many options to go with. And all these players, in fact, all of our front players, I think, are doing pretty good at the moment. Foden, as we spoke about 5 minutes ago, has had a bit of trouble in the last week or so, but we think Pep has given him his punishment and has spoken to him and said, listen, that's not on. Just, they had a man-to-man talk and they put it aside. So we think he's going to go with Foden on the left, crucial part of the team, keep the momentum going. And, the play last week will probably mean he's a little bit fresher than the rest of the players. So there's more pressure on Foden to perform. And then up front, Jesus, who is also doing quite well at the minute. I think City are in talks with Jesus at the moment over a possible new contract. So I'm sure he's happy to play and his confidence is quite high. And then Sterling on the right, of course, who is been consistently quite good recently. Luke, the front three, your thoughts?
Yep, agreed. I mean, I think Foden. This is a game of Foden where if he does play, he needs to prove to everyone, also himself most of all, they belong to his team. Obviously, he belongs to him anyway, but I think, especially after what's happened recently in the news, he needs to show that his head's in the right place. I'm not saying he's a crap player. Obviously, we all love him, but this is the time of his career where, obviously, 21. This is where he's got to start showing that kind of mental fortitude and awareness and understanding of Pep's game. Obviously, he's an important player. He's getting towards the world class level. And if he wants to do that, he needs to make sure that he keeps his mind focused as well as his ability. That's what matters most for the moment. And let's say, if we look at Sterling, right, for example, Sterling is also obviously similar, obviously starting off his career, similar level and that similar ability. But then you got to look at it like over time. Obviously, he matured and grown, and then look at him now. He's now actually a role model and a brilliant player, one of our best players. He's finally finding form again. He hasn't lit the world up again, but he's getting goals, getting tackles, big games like PSG, got a goal last week against Newcastle. He's getting the form back, and that's what we need right now. And then we got Jesus as well, who, again, like I said to you in another video with Dara, he's in that kind of form on the wing. Like, obviously, if he plays a striker or centre forward, obviously that'll be different, but he's still finding that kind of level of form and consistency, which we need. I think I did say about him being, comes to finishing, he needs to improve that, because obviously he has 5 goals so far, but for a player of his quality, he should be on a lot more than that. I think for me, that's his confidence in front of goal, which he needs to find, which I think he can do, but that's up to him to sort of get over that kind of mental block he might have in situations and look to improve, look to sort of. I think he can find it, but it's all up to him at the end of the day. But the front three there is brilliant. Anyone who can play is amazing, but I think the front three we've got there is perfect for this game.
I think this whole team is absolutely perfect to beat anybody. I think we probably do have the strongest squad in Europe at the minute, if not the. And I fully trust them to go and get the job done against Leicester. So that's our starting 11, or our predicted starting 11 anyway. Leave your stand in the comments on who you think might start. Do you think Foden will play? Is he still in Pep's bad books? Does Gundogan start over De Bruyne? It's an interesting one, but I think regardless of who plays, I have full faith the job can be done, especially in the Etihad. I know the King Power is a slightly tougher place to go. But we'll move on to our score predictions. With that said, I'll let you go first, Luke. What do you think the score will be?
I'm going to say 2-0 to City. Obviously, it's not Leicester, but yeah, 2-0 City. I just feel like it'll be one of those games where it won't be a high scoring game. I mean, it could be. But Leicester pose obviously a different challenge to likes of Leeds and Newcastle. They're a bit more defensively capable. I wouldn't say they're way better. It's not like their issues this year in Europe and in the league, but I think they're a lot better than most teams are. So I think it would definitely be a harder game, especially them being up for it, trying to sort of get a result and trying to sort of build some confidence for themselves going forward the rest of the season. So I'll go 2-0 Jesus, and I think Foden will get his goal. I think it'll get a goal to sort of get a confidence going and get some variability back in the squad.
2-0 from Luke, and I'm going to go with a 3-1. I always think Leicester have a goal in them against us. No matter what sort of team they have out, I always think they have a goal in them, and I always know that Rodgers plays a very attacking style of football, so they will really go for it. I'm going to go with a 3-1. I think it could be anyone could score in this game. I think I'm going to go with Bernardo this time. If Foden plays, I'll go with him, and I'm going to go with Sterling to build on his recent goals as well. So 3-1 from me, 2-0 from Luke. Leave your score predictions down below in the comments as well. Boxing Day is a very exciting day for football, and I hope it stays that way, and I hope the rest of the fixtures do not get affected too heavily by the recent outbreaks in the Premier League of the virus. So obviously enjoy your Christmas, enjoy the Boxing Day festive football. Leave a like on the video if you would as well. It really helps us, and subscribe if you're new. I think we've just surpassed something like 615. We're on the road to 700 now. Your support recently has been absolutely fantastic. We really appreciate it, so do keep it up, and we'll see you very, very soon. Good night, God bless.